Yo, what's up guys? Long overdue, but welcome back to another edition of Ask a Paradox. I'm here at the airport in China, waiting for my next flight to New Zealand. I have a 15-hour layover, so I was like, okay, how can I use these 15 hours wisely? Make another Ask a Paradox. So, long overdue, but it's here. New Ask a Paradox, so let's get into it right away. I've looked into your guys' questions and a lot of you have asked about creativity and the dancer's block that I would like to call it. You know, where you have a writer's block, when people don't know what to write anymore, we have the dancer's block where we always keep continuing doing the same movement over and over again and don't really know how to continue our growth and expand ourselves creatively. So I want to touch on that and talk about that in this Ask a Paradox. So when it comes to creativity, I feel like a lot of people have a different perception of it, as if the meaning is different for every person, you know? Where some people see creativity, for instance, as moving outside of the box and doing things you haven't ever done before, new things that people have never seen before that are innovative. Other people will see creativity as using what you have and what you can do in a way that is different from what you normally do, right? So if I, for instance, take singing, I always use the same words. I cannot change, I can, but to make sense, we use the same language to make a song. But then how we organize the words and the topic we choose to talk about or the music we choose can create a more creative approach to music or to singing. And for me, dance works in that same way. So the first point that I would like to touch on is that creativity does not mean do things you have never done before. This is really hard. I believe that it's not possible to do something that you haven't done before by thinking about it, because everything we use here is things that we have experienced, seen, listened to, and so on before. We cannot create stuff here in the mind that does not exist yet. The mind is an absorber of information and then connects them in whatever way possible and then brings it back out into reality and creativity. Meaning that forcing yourself to actually search for something you've never done before in your life is very difficult. And I believe that it is an easier way to be creative by using what you have, what you can do, and finding the connections between those things. For instance, any businessman is a problem solver. They see or connect dots that other people don't see. Oh, there's a lack of this and a need for this. Let me take this and connect these dots together to create a new product, a new situation that people can then use to complete their needs or fill this gap that there was once before. We as creatives can also fill gaps, not per se gaps of a need for a lack of something, but more of a gap of, oh, these dots were maybe not connected that much before. Maybe my groove and, I don't know, my groundwork were not connected in this way. So then as I try to connect them, I get this new creative outlet or new creative way of approaching either groove or floor work. So think about it like this. If I have one of those old locks where you have the digits and I have to put the right digits together to create a password, a number that will open the lock. Let's say the lock are the different types of movements that you have, and as you rotate the different create the different combinations, it's as if you connect the different things that you already have in your vocabulary in order to open that lock of creativity. I don't know, hopefully it makes sense to you, but for me, it helps me a lot to be more comfortable in understanding that what I have is okay, I just have to learn to process it in a different way. So in that sense, vocabulary is extremely important, because the more vocabulary you have, the more digits you can make, right? The more numbers you can create, the more options you have of linking them together, creating new combinations of movement. Or let's say something else. Let's say we're painting and we have a few types of paint or a few colors, right? If I have black and white, that's all I got. I can create a lot with just black and white, a lot, which will bring me to the next thing afterwards. But if I have more colors, I can create more shades, right? If I have red, white, and black, I can create pink. I can also create burgundy and go darker and darker or lighter and lighter. These colors, just like your vocabulary of movement, let's say I have groove, isolation, flow, groundwork, concepts, right? These different colors can mix together and create different shades of your movement. So my first advice for using these colors, or actually for creativity, is look at your colors and first start using what you have as opposed to shoving that off the table and thinking, okay, I need to do something completely different. Use what you have and change it up, and that's gonna give you a new perspective on whatever you got. It's gonna shed a new light on it, which can open many different doors, but it will also help you creating your own style of movement, not your own dance style, but I mean, where I do this, you do this, right? Your own approach. Just like our voice being different, we use the same words, but everyone has a different voice or a different vocal tone thingy, you know what I'm talking about. Dance works just like that. So just find your voice first instead of focusing on finding new words. The second idea that I want to address is that limits create freedom, at least from my perspective. Where, for instance, like I said, if I only have black and white, I learned to use these two in a way bigger extent than I would if I would have green and red and blue. Because now, if I have blue, red, and whatever, I can just create a sun using the red color, the yellow color, right? The water is gonna be blue, and so on. So it's easier, it's more simple to place everything. But the second I narrow it down, and now I have to only use, I can only use black and white, the way I show you the water is different, because I cannot just, you know, draw the water like that and you have water. Nah, I gotta show you what it looks like, so my storytelling becomes more. And I believe that in the body that works the same way. As I have to, or as I limit myself to, for instance, just being able to use my legs or one leg, or jumping the whole round, or putting my hand in front of my face, what's gonna happen is I have to adapt to the situation I am in. And as I do it for a longer period of time, or as you do it for a longer period of time, you will adapt to the situation and you will find new ways of movement. Even though you're using vocabulary that you already had, you have to change them up, adapt them to something else, meaning you will get a different outcome. So when it comes to the dancer's block, the blockage where you feel like you're not growing for a long time, which is a very frustrating thing, and it happened to me many times before, and I know a lot of people that it happens to a lot as well. For nobody, there is one way to go about it and to get out of it. And I also don't believe it's about getting out of it. It's about understanding where you are in that moment and experiencing it. Why is this happening right now? Feeling it, being there, and accepting it so that you can grow from it, right? Instead of trying to forcefully move out of it, there's a reason why you are there, and it's a great way to learn a new lesson. So in my personal opinion, the first step is accepting. This is where I am today, this is what it is, and it's okay. It's okay that I'm experiencing this right now. It's fine. You're not going to die. You know, it's okay. It sucks. I know it really sucks. But as you stop trying to really, like, I don't know, hold on to it and squeeze everything out of it, the second you open up, you can see. But if I keep doing this and I keep squeezing, I don't give myself, my body, my mind, and my creativity the chance to find its way out, because I'm holding on to it too tight. So just let it go and breathe, so that the answer comes to you, as opposed to you forcing and searching for an answer that you probably will not find, forcing yourself the whole time. I myself take a lot of inspiration from other art forms, other artists, other types of art or sports or anything in general, because many people experience the same thing on many different levels, right? So we have the dancer's block, you have the writer's block, right? You have a creative block in every art form, meaning we can listen to other artists and ask, or I guess I myself look at a lot of documentaries, I look at a lot of interviews of people that inspire me to just learn how their process is, basically. And that really helped me, because they would talk about certain situations that we experience in dance too, but because it's more obvious, or it happens a lot more, and people talk about it more, they kind of have the answers for us in a different format, and you just have to listen to it right to form it back and relate it to dance. For instance, I know that with painters, they take a very long time for one painting. Sometimes some painters will paint one painting and it will take a year or longer sometimes to make just one painting. And instead of wanting to finish that painting right away, they let it breathe, they let it talk, and they experience life in order to share that life into the painting. So I think I was looking at this TED Talk, or it was something else, but what happened was this dude was making this painting, And as he got lost in the paint, as he was too close to the canvas the whole time trying to fix everything up and he was too close, he lost the bigger picture. And then when he said, okay, I'm lost and I don't know what to do with this right now, he left it. And he stopped painting for like 3 months. He just left it, did some other stuff, experienced life, renewed and reformed his mindset. Of course, not forcefully, but just taking his time. And then when he came back to the painting and looked at it from afar, he said, oh. And he flipped the painting over and he said, now I see it. And then he was able to, I guess, share more of his creativity, his inspiration on that canvas. And dance works the same way. It's not about always forcing yourself to be better, to be more musical, I don't know, to be more musical, I don't know, or to have more musicality, whatever, to be more creative, to be faster, stronger, jump higher. It's not always about having to force something. Sometimes it's really about experiencing, expressing yourself in the moment that you have and that you are, and knowing when you have to let it breathe and when you have to, train harder. It's vice versa, or it's a balance. It's all about balance. Give yourself the time. So, small review. We have number 1, don't force your creativity and search too much for things that you haven't done before. Of course, it's fine. It's fine to have that open mindset of wanting to experience things, new things, very important. But don't hate on yourself for doing movements that you know, for using words that you have been using to create your sentences. Just figure out ways to mix them up, to find the connections between the different words. Try to just play around with it. Have a lot of fun with making as many mistakes as possible. I can't stress that part enough. I do battles, I do events making mistakes. Like, I literally go in there and say, okay, today I'm gonna mess up. Guys, I'm sorry for this one, bro. I'm not gonna win this. I'm here to make mistakes because I know that my goal and where I'm gonna go to is pretty far, a little far further than this battle. This 1 minute, it's not gonna define my path. This is just 1 minute for me to build something bigger, and I wish the same for you guys. Okay, number 2. Number 2 was limit yourself to create more freedom. As you limit yourself to do less, you create more with that little thing that you have. It becomes more. You expand the possibilities of yourself, of your movement. And number 3, give yourself the time to experience life as opposed to having to force everything, right? Breathe, let it open. Step back, maybe take some time off. Go and practice something else. Go into some other art forms. It's such a something that has been said so many times, right? To just stop dancing and come back, and then some people are like, yeah, you're right, and others are like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. Just trust me. Of course, you got to do what you feel, and if you feel happy dancing, continue doing it. But the second you start feeling stressed doing it, that's not healthy for your creativity at all. Trust me on that one. It's not healthy. Just take the time to step back, breathe, and believe me, at a certain point, you're gonna find your way back as long as you stay open. Which brings me to my last piece of advice, or my last perspective on it. You can see it as advice or as just me giving my opinion, doesn't matter as long as it's helping you guys. For me personally, creativity works in 3 phases: mind, body, soul. So sometimes it's one of these that is blocking your creativity, and other times it's a mix of multiple of them, or maybe all of them together. What really helped me with my creativity and always, I guess, exploring new ways of movement is by understanding that the impulses of creativity do not always come from the mind. Sometimes it's a physical impulse, sometimes an emotional one, and sometimes it's the mind connecting certain dots. And when you open yourself up to these 3, the body is through, to me, in my opinion, vocabulary, right? Practicing a lot of different styles, different movement types, or mastering a certain thing is gonna help you to bend the rules a bit more and find different puzzle pieces that fit together. The mind, to me, is all about understanding connectivity or coordination inside of the body, understanding musicality, right? Of course, you want to feel that as well, but understanding why something is made, or what the history is of music and so on, can actually help you a lot to place yourself into a new situation, into a new scenario, and then eventually will get you to experience or express dance in a different way than you normally would. For instance, if I understand the lyrics of a song and the other person doesn't, I'm gonna dance completely different to that song than this person would. Maybe the song is really sad and the beat is hard, so someone who doesn't know the lyrics is gonna be happy and be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, have you listened to the song? Like, he's saying some really hard shit. And then as I experience or express my movement to it, what's gonna happen is you're gonna feel it more because, oh my God, he related to something deeper because I understood the music. But that's just a part of it. Understanding music, also understanding history, to me, very important. Understanding culture, the culture of the dance, and your own culture. All these things can help you to evolve as a dancer, evolve as a person, because they help you to translate your emotion into your body better, right? I feel emotional impulse. It comes into my mind. I understand what I feel. I get it. Oh, that's where it comes from. That's what I feel. That's where it comes from. And boom, I express it into my body different. And number three, the soul. To me, it's just really about the feeling, right? Which is not always about feeling happy. It's just about experiencing your expression, your emotional impulse from music, from life, from the clothing that you are wearing, from dance, from the people that you interact with, so many different things. You can always narrow it down, of course, but for me, what really helped me, I think that's what you also notice, is that I try to make my spectrum as big as possible. I can't do everything perfect, but as my spectrum is big and I really give myself into all of these different parts of the spectrum, when I dance, sometimes I can tap into this vibe, my emotion. Sometimes I can tap into this, my understanding. Sometimes I tap into my technical side, my movement. And where there's a blockage, the other one helps me to still express myself creatively. And then slowly I learn about that blockage, take a step back, look at the painting, flip it over, and boom, now the blockage can continue and I can continue dancing creatively. It's hard. It is hard to talk about it. It's hard to speak about it because experiencing is different. And that's definitely also one of my last pieces of advice this time. Whatever I am saying right now, even if it sounds amazing, it sounds great, and you're like, oh man, this really makes sense. I don't want it to make sense in your mind. It needs to make sense in your experience. So even though you hear these things, don't take my answer for the answer. Take my answer for a way, a path, something that can hopefully help you to find what makes sense to you. Okay, you gotta always relate knowledge to yourself. It has to be self-knowledge, otherwise it's worthless. Trust me. And that's something that I would really, really recommend you guys. Like, if you're passionate about this and you're actually trying to grow and trying to experience more and be more closer in relationship with your dance, which to me is the actual thing. I have a relationship with my movement. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we make love, sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. It's a relationship, and that's how I perceive it also, so that I don't narrow it down to one basic way of moving, but it's actually me completely. My life is my dance. But my advice would really, really be to not take any lesson and just take the words and say this is what it is, but to actually go and test it. Go and experience it. Go and put whatever I'm saying and whatever other people are saying and whatever you experience, put it to the test, or what you believe, put it to the test. And then when I say put it to the test, I don't mean ask other people if it's true. Who cares? It's not about having other people vouch for it. It's about you feeling it. Is it actually helping you? And do you feel that you're progressing, and are you happy? If not, then whatever anybody says makes no sense, because in the end, we started dancing to express, not to impress. So please, whatever anybody tells you, even if it's me, no matter if this person is high level or low level, first of all, everyone can give you something amazing, something valuable. Always keep your ears open, keep that mind, heart, and that body ready for whatever impulse, you know? But no matter what nobody says, it's all about you. How does it feel for you? Does it help you to reach to this place? And if it doesn't, even if you think it's true, that means that it's not as valuable into your situation, into your life, because history is his story. Now I want to have yours. So Before I finish this Ask a Paradox, another, not a small piece of advice, but just something I want to bring to your attention about creativity, and this is the last thing because I know this video is becoming really long. It's very simple. Your environment creates your experience, or creates you, basically. You are your environment. So sometimes you have to change your environment to change your approach and your view on movement or feeling or dance or history or anything. Sometimes you got to do that. For some people, that means separating yourself from others, separating yourself from toxic people, from people who are not inspired to dance, or even people who are really heavily inspired, but then maybe not in the way that connects to your way of seeing dance. You know, sometimes it's about letting go of that. And for other people, it's about daring to connect and learning to connect with other people, because we all have a different approach, right? It can never hurt to try something out. It's not gonna kill you, right? Dancing with other people is gonna give you a different approach, show you a different approach from another person, always, right? As you, for instance, dance with different people from different countries, they're from a completely different environment. So as they give you their movement, you're gonna see that their speech, not even in their language, but in their body language, is different. And maybe that is going to inspire you and share with you, so you do it like that. That's crazy. It's such a simple piece of advice, but people tend to overlook it because it's so simple. Change your environment. Sometimes you gotta be alone. Sometimes you gotta, I don't know, go somewhere crazy, into a forest or something. I, for instance, used to, as a kid, dance at the playgrounds. That's what I did. I've been dancing for 19 years now, so I wasn't like 18 or something when I did that. Don't worry about it, I'm not crazy. Maybe a little. But as I was a kid, I would go outside, play music, and then go to like the kindergartens, I guess, or I don't know if it's called kindergartens, the playgrounds, and I would dance on the playgrounds. And yeah, I don't know if that really helped me, but I think it actually did, because as I was moving around, I had to use my body and my dance in a different way, and it became more open, more free, more creative. Not saying that all of you have to go outside to a kindergarten, please. Well, actually, it wouldn't matter, but I can't see a 30-year-old guy dancing it out in the kindergarten. That would be awkward, so I don't know if you should do that. But I'm just saying it. What I'm saying is, don't be scared to sometimes put yourself into new situations. Awkward ones, too comfortable ones, very uncomfortable ones. Experiencing it, you know? And that's kind of where I will stop this one and finish it off with this Ask a Paradox. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully I said something that resonates with you guys. Please don't take only my advice. Listen to other people. Find, like I said, other sources of inspiration through other art forms, through dance, through music, through sports, whatever. You can, like, every book will give you something interesting that you can use in your movement if you have the right mindset and you're able to apply it back into your dance, you know? So with that said, I'm going to sit back and wait for my flight. And I'm going to thank you guys for looking at this new Ask a Paradox. We'll make sure I make the next one soon. I know y'all not believing me, but it's coming, you know. If you have any questions, down the comments below, please ask them there, and I'll take your questions, pick them out, and try to formulate another Ask a Paradox for you guys, answering the questions that you guys have. Something I never say in my videos, but you know, just to be sure, if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, because it actually helps my channel in a way of me being able to reach more people with these type of videos. They take a lot of work, so it's awesome when I see that it actually reaches a high amount of people, knowing that I help, or I try to help a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? So first of all, thank you guys so much. And then second of all, hopefully see you in the next one, and have a nice day. Take care.